What do you mean we put guests in dirty rooms and tell them to deal with it? Noah Trent had just walked into the lobby of his own hotel, dressed in a faded hoodie, cargo pants, and a ball cap pulled low. His beard was longer than usual, and the glasses helped. No one here had met him before he inherited the hotel chain 2 years ago after his father passed. And while he'd visited 4 of the 7 locations in person, this one in Redding, California, had always been a blind spot. The hotels had been his father's pride but had grown complacent. Noah had tried to modernize from the top, but he kept hearing the same things. Everything's fine. But occupancy was down at 2 locations, and online reviews for the Redding Hotel had been brutal, mostly about rude staff and poor cleanliness. Noah didn't want secondhand answers anymore. So he booked a last-minute room under the name Jason Fields and walked in just after 11 at night, wanting to see things as they were. The night manager, a man in his late 40s with slicked-back hair and a name tag that read Darren, barely looked up from his phone. "Checking in," he mumbled. "Yeah, Jason Fields, online reservation," Noah said, voice low and calm. Darren tapped a few keys, sighed, then handed over a keycard. "Room 214, elevators to your left." No welcome, no smile, not even eye contact. Noah took the elevator up and stepped into a room that smelled like mildew. The bedsheets were crumpled. There was a used towel on the bathroom floor. He stood still, heart sinking. He walked back down to the front desk. "Hey, the room's not clean." Darren didn't look up. "Housekeeping's gone. You want a different one, I can check, but they're all the same right now. You didn't check in earlier, so not my problem." Noah stared at him. "You're giving dirty rooms to guests." "Look," Darren finally looked up, clearly annoyed. "We're short-staffed, we told corporate. They don't send help, so yeah, if people come in late, they get what's left. You want to cancel, fine, it's your choice." Noah kept his tone measured. "And what if someone complains?" Darren leaned back in his chair. "We tell them to call corporate, not my job to make people happy. My job is to keep the lights on until morning." That hit Noah hard. This was his hotel. His family's name was still on the property deeds, and this man was handing out filthy rooms and brushing off guests like they were nothing. Noah nodded slowly and went back upstairs. He didn't sleep. The next day, he waited until the day shift manager, an exhausted woman named Carla, came in a little before 7. She looked startled when Noah introduced himself as Jason, the guest in 214. "I'm so sorry about the room," she said quickly. "We had 2 call-outs yesterday from housekeeping and no night porter again." "Is that common?" he asked. "Almost every week," she sighed. "We've asked for more staffing. Darren always says he'll pass it up the chain. I doubt he does. He doesn't care." Noah asked if she could show him around. She hesitated, then nodded. "Sure, I don't usually have help, so come on." They went through the laundry room, which was stacked with unwashed linens. 2 empty carts sat in the hallway. Carla picked up a bin and began sorting. "You do this yourself?" Noah asked. Carla smiled faintly. "Someone has to. Most of the girls quit last month. We started with 4 housekeepers. Now there's me and 1 part-timer." "Why'd they quit?" She paused. "No breaks, no overtime. Darren changes the schedule last minute. One of the girls, Marisol, she got yelled at by him in front of a guest. She cried in the hallway. Next day she was gone." Noah clenched his jaw. He had never approved any of that. He helped Carla strip 2 rooms and saw how hard she worked. She was careful, respectful of guests' belongings, and fast. She even brought in her own cleaning spray because, as she admitted, the hotel brand stuff smells like chemicals and guests complain. Later that afternoon, he sat in the small break room, watching a young front desk clerk named Lily take over for the evening shift. She was polite, professional, and offered every guest water and a city map. Noah noticed Darren's shift starting again at 11. He decided to wait. At 11:05 p.m., Darren walked in, late again, with a fast food bag in one hand and no interest in the lobby. As soon as Lily finished her shift and left, Darren flopped in the chair behind the desk and turned on the TV behind the counter. Noah walked back down from his room. "I've got a question," he said, approaching the desk. Darren didn't look away from the screen. You again? Yeah, Noah said, stepping closer. I was wondering what would you say if the owner of this place came in and asked why you're assigning dirty rooms and telling guests it's not your problem, Darren laughed. I'd say what I always say, if the owner gave a damn, he'd show up. But he's probably sitting in some office miles away, sipping scotch and counting money. Noah's stomach turned. You ever met the owner? He asked. Nope, and I don't care to. They don't care about us. Noah leaned forward. What if I told you you've been talking to him all night? Darren turned slowly, confused. What? I'm Noah Trent. I own this hotel and the 6 others in this chain. The color drained from Darren's face. Noah pulled out his wallet and set his ID on the counter. Darren stared at it, then back at Noah. You're joking. I wish I was. Noah's voice was low but firm. But you handed me a filthy room, told me to deal with it, and then said the owner didn't care. That's me, and I do care. There was a long silence between them. Then Noah said, You're done here. Gather your things. Darren opened his mouth, but Noah cut him off. No excuses, no speech. You've been treating people like garbage. That ends tonight. Darren slowly walked to the back office. Noah stood in the empty lobby, heart pounding. He didn't want to fire people. He hated this part, but this wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern that had poisoned this place. He looked around the lobby, the front desk, the carpets, the tired furniture. He had a lot of work to do, but now he knew exactly where to start. By the time the sun rose the next morning, Noah was already sitting at the small table in the back office, a battered legal pad in front of him, scribbling names and shift patterns. He hadn't slept. Not that he could have, his mind was racing. The situation wasn't just about one negligent night manager. It was structural, systemic. One man didn't create this culture alone. Carla arrived just after 6, hair pulled into a tight bun, sleeves rolled up. She paused in the doorway when she saw Noah behind the desk. I thought you were a guest. I was, Noah said, standing. I'm also the owner. Her eyebrows twitched upward, but she didn't say anything for a moment. Then, so you saw it for yourself. I did. Carla leaned against the doorframe. What now? I need your help, Noah said. I won't pretend I can fix this in a week, but I'm not going back to my office until I understand exactly what's broken. Start by telling me who's still showing up and why. She stepped inside and sat across from him. Lily's reliable. She's only been here 3 months but handles the front desk better than anyone. James, maintenance, still comes in early even though he's supposed to be part-time. Says he can't watch the building fall apart. We have one housekeeper left, Maria. She's 62. Doesn't speak much English but works circles around people half her age. Noah jotted the names down. Anyone else? Not really. Most of the crew either quit or stopped picking up shifts because of Darren, and before you ask, yeah, upper management knew, they just didn't act. Noah looked up. What about you? Why are you still here? Carla gave a tired chuckle. Habit, maybe. I've worked hotels my whole life. Something about making a place feel safe for strangers kept me coming back. I thought this place had potential once. He nodded slowly. Can you run the day shift on your own for a few days while I start sorting this out? I already do. Noah grabbed his jacket. Then I'm going to meet the rest of the crew. Let them know who I am. He started with James, the maintenance man, who was bent over a water heater in the basement. The air was thick with humidity and rust. When Noah introduced himself, James just wiped his hands and said, "Took you long enough." Noah crouched beside him. What's the biggest problem in this building? James pointed at the pipes running overhead. These haven't been insulated properly since the Clinton administration. We lose heat, we get mold, and when it rains hard, you get drips through the 3rd floor ceiling. I've put in requests for repair budgets for over a year. Where do those requests go? Asked Darren. Or whatever regional guy is supposed to sign off on it. I stopped pushing after I was told to make do. Noah stood. You'll have a proper budget by the end of the week. I want a full list of what needs fixing. James didn't smile, but he gave a nod that carried weight. Next, Noah caught up with Maria in the laundry room. She was folding sheets methodically, her hands calloused, wrists taped with athletic wrap. Her English was limited, but she recognized him instantly when he introduced himself. Her eyes searched his face not with awe, but with quiet appraisal. "I clean, I stay quiet, I do my job," she said. "That's clear." Noah glanced around the cramped room. One of the machines rattled with every spin. "How long have you used that washer?" She pointed to the label. "Before my son graduated high school," Noah calculated. "How old is he now?" 31, he exhaled. "You shouldn't have to work like this." Maria shook her head firmly. "I work because I want this place to be good, but I don't have help. Carla helps me clean rooms. That is not right." Noah placed a hand on his chest. "That changes." "I promise." Her response was simple. "You fix it or we break." By late morning, Noah returned to the front desk, where Lily was finishing a phone call. She looked surprised to see him behind the counter. "You're the guy from 2 nights ago," she said, then noticed the badge clipped to his chest. "Wait, Noah Trent." "Like the Noah Trent," he nodded. "Sorry for the deception. I needed to see how this place really operated." Lily hesitated, then shrugged. "Honestly, I get it." "Why do you stay?" he asked. She leaned on the desk. "Because I like people, and because Carla looks out for us. If she wasn't here, I'd be gone already." Noah tilted his head. "What would make your job easier?" "Clear shifts, functional computers, and maybe a phone system that doesn't drop every third call. Oh, and having a manager who didn't disappear halfway through the day." Noted. Before she could respond, a guest approached, visibly frustrated. "I've called the front desk 3 times this morning. No one picks up," the man said. "I'm sorry about that," Noah said, stepping forward. "We're making some changes. Can I help you now?" The man looked slightly thrown. "My shower's dripping, loud enough to keep me up all night," Noah nodded. "I'll have maintenance look at it right now. Thank you for your patience." As the guest walked away, Lily raised an eyebrow. "You're really jumping in." "I have to," Noah replied. "I've let too much go unseen." By early afternoon, he gathered Carla, Maria, James, and Lily in the small break room. The air was tight with uncertainty. "I won't waste your time," Noah began. "I saw what Darren was doing to this place. He's gone, but that's just the first step." No one said anything. "I'm not here to throw money around or make vague promises. I'm staying here for the next 2 weeks. I'll be working alongside you. I want to understand every department, every shift, every problem." James crossed his arms. "What happens after 2 weeks? I'll leave a new manager in place, someone you trust, and I'll make sure we hire enough people to support you, but I'm not choosing that manager without your input." Maria glanced at Carla, who gave a small nod. Lily was the first to speak. "That sounds good. But we've heard promises before." "I understand," Noah said, "which is why I'm not asking for trust. I'm going to earn it." Carla rubbed her temples. "You sure you're ready for what that'll take?" "I have to be." Over the next few days, Noah scrubbed bathroom tiles, hauled laundry carts, answered phones, and even unclogged a toilet in room 307. He missed calls from his downtown office, ignored them. This was where he needed to be. He learned that the front desk software hadn't been updated in 7 years, that the breakfast bar had been shut down 6 months ago due to health code concerns, but no one had mentioned it to corporate, that Maria often brought her own gloves because the hotel ran out every week, that James had been buying light bulbs with his own money. He also saw Lily diffuse a guest complaint with grace, Carla cover 2 shifts back-to-back without a word of complaint, and Maria leave a small hand-folded towel animal on a child's bed because she looked sad when she checked in. Noah kept notes. At night, he lay awake on the same thin mattress in room 214, listening to the hum of the vending machine outside the door and wondering just how long this place had been running on fumes. But they were still standing. Not because of any system or strategy, but because of the people who hadn't given up. And now that he'd seen it, he wasn't going to let them carry it alone. By the 4th day, exhaustion was starting to catch up with Noah. His lower back ached from lifting linen hampers, and his hands were raw from using cleaning products without gloves. Maria had given him her extra pair once she noticed. Still, he kept going, not out of pride but necessity. Every hour he spent inside the building gave him another layer of understanding that reports and spreadsheets never could. That morning, Carla met him in the supply closet behind the front desk. She was holding a clipboard and gesturing to the half-empty shelves. "2 more rooms need to be turned by noon," she said. "We're down to 1 bottle of glass cleaner and no replacement pillowcases. I already texted the supplier, but they won't deliver until Monday." "How much of this should be stocked at all times?" he asked. "Twice what we've got now, bare minimum, but we don't get to order direct. Orders go through the regional office and they only approve bulk shipments once a month." Noah rubbed his forehead. "Who's the regional contact?" "Rick Borden. He's been in the role 3 years. You'd like him if you ever met him, but he's impossible to reach unless you escalate." "I'll handle it," he said. "We're not waiting on bureaucracy anymore." He stepped out into the hallway and called the number listed on the internal directory. It rang 5 times before going to voicemail. He tried again immediately. This time it picked up. "Rick Borden." "This is Noah Trent." A pause. "Oh wow, okay, didn't expect a call from you directly. I'm at the Redding property. I've been here 4 days. I need to know why this location hasn't received adequate supplies in over a month." Rick hesitated. "It's not that we're trying to short them. We've had to centralize purchasing for cost efficiency. The local managers are supposed to flag anything urgent." Darren didn't flag anything. "Because he didn't care, and no one followed up." Rick tried to explain the process, talking about inventory thresholds and auto-replenishment systems. Noah cut him off. "Send a shipment today. Use a courier if you have to. I'll cover the cost difference personally. From now on, this property orders what it needs when it needs it. No more waiting on monthly approval." There was no pushback. That afternoon, Noah walked past the break room and saw Lily sitting alone, sorting a stack of guest comment cards. She was highlighting phrases with a pink marker. He knocked on the open door. "Got a second?" he asked. She looked up. "Sure." He stepped in and sat across from her. The cards were from the last 2 months, some handwritten, others printed from the website's feedback portal. "What are you doing with those?" he asked. "Trying to find patterns," she said. "I started last week. Thought if I could show Carla the biggest complaints, maybe we could fix a few things ourselves. A lot of people mention the smell in the hallways and the carpets. One guy even said they felt damp." "They are," Noah said, nodding. "There's a leak in the ceiling above the 3rd floor. James showed me." She looked surprised. "So you're sticking around?" "As long as it takes." She put down the highlighter. "You know, we've had regional reps visit before. They walk the lobby, talk about synergy, then disappear. You're the first person who scrubbed a tub." He leaned back, arms crossed. "I'm not here to check boxes. I'm here because I owe this place more than I realized." She gave a small nod, then pushed a few comment cards toward him. "This one's from last week," she said. "The guest said they loved how Maria folded the towels into swans, said it made their kid smile. I thought you'd want to see it." He read it silently. A simple message, but it hit harder than he expected. It reminded him why his father used to walk the halls of every hotel he owned, shaking hands and remembering names. "Thanks," he said. "I needed that." Later that evening, Noah joined James in the workshop. The walls were lined with tools, some missing, others rusted. A broken vacuum cleaner sat disassembled on the table. "I've got a question," Noah said, picking up a screwdriver. "Do you know where the old maintenance logs are?" James gestured to a plastic tub under the bench. "Back to 2012. Everything since last year's been digital, but I keep backups." Noah pulled out a few binders and flipped through the pages. His eyes stopped on entries that repeated the same issues over and over. Ceiling stains, HVAC inconsistencies, water pressure fluctuations. "Has anyone from corporate ever reviewed these?" he asked. James shook his head. "They ask for summaries, never details." "Then I'll be the first." They worked in silence for a while, James soldering a loose connection while Noah read through months of notes. Eventually, James spoke. You're doing all this yourself. Long hours, dirty work. You don't have to prove anything to me. I'm not doing it to prove anything. I'm doing it because I let things slide. I trusted the wrong people to protect this place. James didn't respond right away. Then quietly he said, "You're not the first to make that mistake." At 2 in the morning, Noah sat alone in the lobby. The lights were dimmed and the hum of the vending machines was the only sound. He was reviewing Carla's handwritten shift notes when he heard footsteps. Maria entered wearing her coat lunchbox in hand. She stopped when she saw him. "You are still here," she said, more surprised than concerned. "Couldn't sleep," he replied. "Too much on my mind." Maria walked over and sat across from him. She didn't speak for a while. "Just looked around the lobby. This place, it has history," she said finally. "Families came here, people on hard times, travelers. It was welcoming, not perfect, but warm." He nodded. "Now it feels tired," she said. "Like it's waiting to be taken care of." "I see that now," he said. "I should have seen it sooner." She stood up, then paused. "You are trying, that matters." By the next morning, the new shipment of supplies arrived. Carla organized everything herself, checking off each item with methodical precision. Maria's cart now had fresh gloves and working spray bottles. Lily received a new headset for the front desk phone. James got replacement tools and a new circuit tester. But despite the small wins, Noah knew something bigger had to change. The system, the one he had inherited, not created, was designed for efficiency at the cost of humanity. It rewarded silence and punished complaints, and people like Carla and Maria had paid the price for too long. That afternoon, he met with his executive assistant over video chat from the small office behind the lobby. Her image flickered on the screen. "I need you to draft a memo," Noah said. "Effective immediately, I want Reading removed from the standard procurement system. They'll order independently for the next 3 months. I'll personally approve expenses." "Understood," she said. "Should I notify regional?" "No, I'll call Rick myself." "Also, I want you to start pulling applications for a new general manager, someone local, someone who understands hospitality, not just operations." She nodded. "And long-term changes? We're rewriting the handbook, top to bottom, starting with how we treat our frontline staff." Noah ended the call and leaned back in the chair. Through the window, he could see Lily laughing with a guest at the front desk, Maria pushing her cart into the elevator, James hauling a new filter up the stairs, and Carla reviewing the cleaning checklist with a clipboard in hand. They were holding the place together. He was finally giving them the tools to rebuild it. Noah stood outside the Reading Hotel just after dawn, one foot resting on the curb, watching the delivery van pull away. The air smelled faintly of eucalyptus and warm concrete. He hadn't left the property in over a week. Everything he needed to see was right here. Inside, Carla was reviewing a new shift calendar she'd drafted overnight. Lily was behind the front desk, helping a traveler who'd lost his booking. Maria was already upstairs, pushing her cart steadily from room to room. James had texted a half-hour earlier that he was picking up a replacement belt for the rooftop HVAC. The hotel wasn't fixed, but it was breathing again. Noah stepped into the break room where Carla sat at the corner table, red pen tapping gently against her clipboard. "You've got a minute?" he asked, setting a coffee cup in front of her. She looked up, surprised. "You brought coffee, only for you. Should buy me at least 5 minutes." She took a sip, then nodded. "We've got about 30 rooms turning today. If we stay on schedule, we'll be caught up by this evening. I've arranged for 2 temporary housekeepers to come in tomorrow. They're from another property up north, just for a few days until we hire locally." Carla leaned back slightly. "That'll help. Maria's good, but she's running low." "I know, she didn't say it, but I can see it." Carla glanced at him. "So what happens when you leave?" "I've already interviewed 3 candidates for general manager. I narrowed it to one, a woman named Evelyn. She used to run a boutique lodge in Nevada City. She's sharp, calm under pressure, and knows how to run lean without cutting corners." "Is she corporate or someone who's actually worked a night shift?" Former front desk, worked her way up. Took over as GM when her boss retired. Carla considered it. If she listens, she'll do fine. She does, I made sure of that. Noah hesitated. And if you're willing, I'd like to make your role official, assistant manager, full-time, better pay, and no more back-to-back doubles unless you want them. Carla studied him for a moment. You're serious? I wouldn't be offering if I wasn't. She didn't smile. Carla never did much, but her shoulders relaxed just slightly. Then I'll stay. Later that morning, Noah knocked on the maintenance closet door. James emerged with a wrench in one hand and a rag tucked into his belt. I've got something for you, Noah said, handing him a plain envelope. James opened it and pulled out a printed quote from a licensed contractor. His eyes narrowed. You're replacing the third-floor ductwork, starting next Monday, and I want you to oversee it. You know the building better than anyone. James nodded slowly. I'll need to walk the team through the crawlspace layout. That's going to be tight. I figured you'd say that. I also added a budget for tools you've been requesting since last year. James folded the paper carefully. What's the catch? No catch. I just want to get ahead of the next complaint instead of waiting for one. James gave a short, thoughtful sound. That's new. Noah waited until the early afternoon lull before asking Lily to join him in the office behind the front desk. She looked wary but followed. I wanted to talk about your role here, he began. You've got good instincts. You anticipate problems before they happen, and you don't freeze when things go sideways. I've worked service jobs since I was 17, she said. You learn fast or you get eaten alive. I want you to stay. And I want you to take on more responsibility training new front desk hires, overseeing evening handoffs, helping coordinate guest recovery when things go wrong. Lily blinked. You're offering me a promotion. It's not a title change just yet, but it's a step toward it. I'll back it with a raise, and if you stick with it, there's a path to front desk supervisor in 3 months. She hesitated, then nodded. All right. I'll do it. You'll be good at it. I plan to be. Outside the office, the rhythm of the hotel had shifted. The front desk ran without panic. Housekeeping, though still stretched, had a rhythm again. James had mapped out 6 maintenance priorities and scheduled them across the next 3 weeks. Carla had restructured shifts to avoid burnout. It wasn't perfect, but it was stable. Noah walked the halls one last time that evening. He paused on the 2nd floor, where he'd first opened the door to a dirty room and felt the bottom drop out of his stomach. That space was clean now, the sheets crisp, the air fresh. He stepped inside and sat on the edge of the bed. The mattress was still too firm, the art on the walls dated, but it felt different. There was a knock at the open door. Maria peeked in. I thought maybe you go home already. Not yet, he said, just needed to see the room again. Maria stepped inside. She looked around, then nodded once. Better. Thanks to you. She glanced at the folded towels on the dresser. I teach new girls, when they come, you'll get help soon. Real help. She sat down on the armchair across from him. You fix many things this week, she said. But the people that was most broken, I know, they stay now because they believe you see them. He looked at her. I do. Maria stood, picked up her cart, and left without another word. That night, Noah held a quiet meeting in the break room. No fanfare. Just the core staff sitting around the table sipping lukewarm coffee and listening. I'll be heading back tomorrow, he said, but I'll be checking in regularly. Evelyn starts next week. Carla will help her get settled. And I'll come back in person every quarter, not to inspect, just to listen. No one applauded. They weren't that kind of team, but there was a stillness in the room that hadn't existed when he first arrived. After the meeting, he walked outside. The sky was a deep navy, stars just beginning to pierce through. The parking lot lights buzzed faintly. He stood there until the door opened behind him. Carla stepped out, arms folded. You really going to come back? Every 3 months, minimum, she nodded. Good. Because if you don't, we'll notice. I know. She looked out across the lot. Place feels different. It is. She stepped back inside. The door swung shut softly behind her. Noah stood alone a moment longer, then turned and walked back inside, past the front desk, up the stairs and into his room. His stay had started with a lie, but it was ending in truth. The hotel wasn't just a business. It was a collection of people trying their best beneath the weight of indifference. And now, finally, they weren't carrying that weight alone.